What's up, everybody? If you're new here, welcome in. And if you've been here before, welcome back. I'm Rollshambo, connoisseur and collector of all things sharp and shiny. Today, we're talking shop on this Spyderco Yojimbo 2. Before we get to that, do me a favor. And if you've ever heard the quote, "It's not yours until it bites you," hit that like and subscribe button. Guys, I love this knife. Created by Michael Janich in collaboration with Spyderco, and they did a phenomenal job. First thing, I'm going to point out the obvious. This is not your typical Yojimbo 2. This is one that I have modified. So for the purposes of being accurate, just assume that any specs that I give you today are going to be related to the stock format of this knife. With that being said, why do I love this knife? First and foremost, it has a Wharncliffe style blade. This is known as a self-defense knife. That's what Michael Janich created it to be. That isn't to say that you can't use it for, your everyday cutting tasks, whether you're breaking down boxes, opening Amazon packages, maybe you have a letter that's been giving you a tough time. What I'm trying to say is the Wharncliffe is an amazing blade shape. It's actually my favorite blade shape, believe it or not. And that is because, first and foremost, it's easy to sharpen. Have you ever looked at a traditional style knife? Like, for example, this is a Chavez Redemption Street. Notice how it has your regular clip point blade, drop point, whatever you want to call it, and it swoops, right? Michael Janich, who is a martial arts instructor for more than 40 years, Army veteran, created his own self-defense system based around weapons like this. He did a lot of testing. And what he found is that when it comes to actual cutting, the amount of force on a Wharncliffe is evenly distributed from tang to tip, meaning that you have the best ability to cut and to get into whatever you want to get into with the least amount of force, versus something with a curved edge like your regular clip point or drop point. That pressure is going to be dispersed along the edge. He has a video about it. I'm not going to go into too much more detail. I just wanted to mention that is genius. He found that out by accident, which I just think is nuts. You don't need to convince me twice. This is not my only Wharncliffe blade. I have several, and they are always my favorite tools to use. They're my favorite tools to sharpen. Even a novice person at knife sharpening can sharpen this knife. So in its stock format, what can you expect? Well, for starters, the overall length comes in at 7.5 inches, which means that it's not going to be like super long. This is not what I would consider a small blade, though. Look at the size. Look at the width from the edge to the top. It's not a small knife. No one will ever look at this and feel like you're just carrying around a letter opener. It's a self-defense knife. It's not supposed to be dainty, but it does give you a lot of control. Now, on this specific knife, I do have a Emerson Wave made by 5x5 Combat Solutions, which is just fantastic, by the way. I will admit that the blade shape does take some getting used to. It almost looks like someone had broken off a shard of metal, and this just happened to be how the shape that came out. And they're like, you know what? Screw it. Put it in a knife. I bet it'll be great. I bet Spyderco will sell it by the millions. And then they did. This is a very popular knife. And just like with most Spyderco knives, it's also highly customizable. I'm going to get into the stats, but I did want to point out that because it's a Spyderco, you can find different pocket clips, you can find different handle scales, and you can find fun little features like this 5x5 Combat Solutions Emerson Wave, which makes it so the moment you pull it out of your pocket, it deploys immediately. And that's just fantastic, because sometimes when I need my knife, I don't have both hands available. And maybe I just need to make sure that I deploy it as quickly as possible, so the moment that I do need it, it's ready to go. Did I mention that I love this knife? Let's talk materials. So the materials are very standard. It comes in two different flavors. black G10 handle scales with a satin finished S30V blade, or black G10 handle scales with a black DLC coated blade. If you go to Blade HQ, you'll notice that they don't mention that this coating is DLC. I have a Spyderco Manix 2 with that exact same coating, and based on my use case scenario, it acts exactly the same and it looks exactly the same. So for my purposes, I'm going to say this is black DLC. If I'm wrong, I'm sure you're going to put it in the comments section below anyways. You guys are really great about making sure that I get all my information correct, so thank you. There are exclusives of this knife. I believe it's River's Edge Cutlery actually made one in 20 CV with tan G10. So if you want that higher edge retention steel, notice how I didn't say higher quality. If you wanted that higher edge retention steel, head on over there. They might still have some available. I'm not sure. I haven't looked at these in quite a while. Let's talk cost. So for the standard format, satin blade with black G10, you can get it for under 200 bucks. I want to say that it's pretty prevalent to find these for about 165 to 170. I'll post an Amazon link down below. If you click on that link, guys, it helps me out. Don't do it just for me though. If you're heading over to Amazon anyways, and you're going to buy something anyways, it helps me out a lot if you go through my link, even if you don't buy whatever I listed. It means a lot. Now, if you want one with the black DLC coated blade, it's going to be about 30 bucks more. I saw these going for about $200. So just keep that in mind, depending upon where you buy it, depending upon which configuration you want, black blade could be more expensive. Just something to keep an eye on. Moving forward, let's talk about the dimensions. So this knife is 7.5 inches long and it weighs 4 ounces. You ratio guys out there, you're going to be like, 4 ounces is so heavy. It's not an ounce an inch, blah, blah, blah. Listen, 4 ounces is not heavy to me. And you could tell because the first thing I did when I decided to start modifying it was put titanium handle scales on it, a titanium pocket clip, and that definitely added to the weight. I haven't noticed any issue with the weight. It doesn't like drag my pants down. It doesn't feel like anything in my pocket. But if you're one of those people who maybe you carry a lot of tools with you and the last thing you want is just more weight, the weight is something to consider. I get it. Would I buy this again if I lost it today? Yes. And I would, because even though there's other Wharncliffe style blades out there on the market, I love all the research and design that's gone into this. Michael Janisch designed this after years and years of research, looking into blade shapes, looking into blade steels, and he did a phenomenal job. You can tell because of the handle scales. Right here at the swell, it's actually contoured on both sides. That means that where the most leverage of your grip is the most comfortable. It also has a swell up here at the top of the blade, which is a natural place to put your thumb, meaning that you have really good control, really good leverage. You know, if you're a mall ninja, you'll be all right. He's got you covered. This is a phenomenal knife. It's worth every single penny, and it's one that I couldn't recommend more. Guys, if you liked this video, you know what to do. Go ahead, smash that like button. And if you didn't like it, I don't know why you're still watching, but thank you, because that helps me as well. Leave a comment in the comment section down below. Let me know what you think of the Spyderco Yojimbo 2, and I will see you next time.